Convention in last year, 2007. It said that they want the U.S. to be a theocracy, like Iran.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So let's continue on this atheism. We're still on a roll with the history of atheism. Let's come up from 1963, Madeleine O'Hair. What did it do from past then? What events passed then between now and then?
Well, you know, Madeleine Murray O'Hair's Supreme Court ruling was only the first of a whole series of Supreme Court rulings that very clearly delineated the separation of church from state in our government. And we've been fighting that battle ever since because there has been constant encroachment against that boundary. You mentioned the coach in Texas that reads or that prays before each game. We have amazing number of court cases over evolution and intelligent design and creationism. That's been a long-going battle since the Scopes trial in 1925.
1925, you would think, okay, we actually lost that case.
We did actually lose that case.
But I think what he was fined $1 and prevented to teach or something like that. That sent a message as well, didn't it? That it wasn't that bad of decree. It wasn't that bad of ruling. It was almost like it was neutral, in fact.
Well, actually, the whole thing was just what is the phrase when they just dismissed? The appeals court looked at it and threw the whole thing out, which is as if the court case had never happened.
Amazing.
But since then, there have been plenty of states that have passed laws that said you cannot teach evolution, you have to teach creationism, you have to teach this alternative theory, and in every one of those cases, it has been knocked down by the courts, saying this is not constitutional, this is teaching and promoting religion unconstitutionally. Every case. The most recent one in Dover.
Dover, Pennsylvania.
Dover, Pennsylvania.
Was about 2005.
Right, 2005 was the most clearest one. And this was by a conservative judge, religious judge, and he described the whole effort by the school board to try to teach intelligent design as a crock, as bogus, and totally out of line. The whole thing was, what was the word he used? Do you remember?
Oh, I have the actual summation that the judge did, and it was just incredible how much he actually put down intelligent design. It was just like religious church coming in and trying to preach to the children,
right.
And that's why one of the things he identified as religion, and I find that is...
Now, have you ever heard of an atheist group getting that far, say on a school board, to teach atheism, to say there is no God in class? No, you've never experienced anything like that, but this happens in the Christian community in the United States all the time.
And that's why they're picking the fight. Atheists generally do not pick the fight. We do not go out there and say, we want to teach atheism, we want to teach agnosticism, there's an alternative God out there or no God, and teach your children this. We don't do that. We don't espouse, or we don't promote our belief system, our worldview, like religion does. And that's one thing that atheists don't have. We don't have a church. We don't have a social group. And your particular group...
We're working on that one.
Well, that's right. Our last interview with Atheists United, which we will touch on that at the very end of this program, because in my particular dream world is that atheists will get together just as socially as churches do, because obviously churches get together because a big draw to that particular
and you have to admit that's a definite benefit, that's a definite draw. People, we are social animals. Human beings require community and social interaction, but because atheism has been so demonized and stigmatized in our society, atheists out there are afraid
to come out.
Afraid to come out.
That's right. And of course, if you're like, I'm an entrepreneur, I have my own job, my own business here. In fact, I produce these shows as well as other shows. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. In fact, they might be surrounded by Christians.
Yeah.
That's right.
At work.
So when is the point going to be legally that if somebody gets tossed out of their job because they don't believe or they don't pray their company breakfast, you know, when is that going to start coming out more and more where people are actually discriminated against because of their religion at work? I know it's been
we have laws for that, but are they enforced? That's the big question.
Well, there's a woman that got kicked out because she wanted to teach evolution and not creationism in Texas. I have to read a little bit more about it. Familiar with that at all?
This was someone on the Texas Board of Science
And she's been teaching for 17 or 18 years.
She's not
very successful.
Well, she had been a teacher, but she was simply an administrator at that point. And it wasn't that she went out and changed the curriculum or foisted anything on a school. She simply, this is just so outrageous to me. She simply passed on an email.
Just an email?
Passed on an email to other science teachers saying that someone from the National Center for Science Education, which is a very pro-evolution group, is coming to speak in their area.
That was it?
That was how she got fired. She forwarded that email.
Making an announcement that there's going to be a guest speaker.
Speaking on evolution. And she was brought down by the governor's office for promoting an ideological stance.
Amazing. I didn't know it was that.
And it's incredible, yeah.
It's like, well, I'm sure that she's going to be promoted some way in the future because she didn't do anything wrong, first of all. And it's up to the school boards to determine if creation is going to be taught. Now, every time the school boards do go up to this, and the creationists do go up to school boards and offer this, very much like in Dover, Pennsylvania, they're shot down by judges mostly. Why is this a continuum, is happening again and again? Why is it continuously happening? They're trying to change the name from creationism to ID, intelligent design, and they're also changing it again, which I have forgotten the new word for it.
I don't know about that.
There's a new type of thing, the phrase that
trying
to isolate
change over
themselves.
time. Is that the phrase?
That might be it.
Yeah.
And it's to isolate the religious part of it. The thing about evolution, which again we're going to have a whole issue on this, is that the thing about creationism and that God did it, so why even study it? This is dumbing down our science, kids. In fact, just to show you, there was a recent poll last week on how many people did not know how long it took the Earth to go around the sun. I know it sounds like a silly question, but how many people? Nearly 50%.
50% did not know how long it took?
Wait a second. It's 365 days. That's a year, maybe a year. You would think about that. I actually asked one of my friends last night about it. And she wasn't science-oriented. She was a interior decorator, and she did not know. And I had to be very careful.
You're not kidding me here.
I'm not kidding you.
This is otherwise intelligent, adult woman, has gone through our education system.
That's right. And this is why intelligent design is bad.
Oh,
it takes away from the scientific method of hypothesis, experimentation, and observation and verification.
Well, this is one of the fundamental contrasts between religion and atheism, at least as I understand it, is that those in the atheist camp appreciate and know the value of knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is how we control our environment. Knowledge is how we improve ourselves. Whereas religion is, you don't need to know that stuff. We'll do the thinking for you. You just be nice and pious.
That's exactly right. In fact, you wouldn't even allowed to read the Bible, even if you were literate.
Hundreds of years, it was banned. They were burning people at the stake for translating the Bible into a colloquial language.
Incredible. You know, there's a lot to talk about, I know. This is our second show on the history of atheism. I mean, we did touch on a couple tangents there, but atheism is a good worldview. It's not an evil worldview. It is a very moral worldview. And if you look up secular humanist, you'll find a lot of the same things that atheists believe in. We believe in the natural world. We believe in contributing to this world. We believe in leaving this world better than when we came into this world. So thank you very much for attending the show, for watching the show. And again, thank you, Stewart. Great, great show.